Hey everybody, I'm Scott Wikle. You're listening to My Kind of Country. Thanks so much for joining us on a Monday night. We've got a great bluegrass artist on the show tonight. I'm real excited about this. This gentleman and his wife have a fantastic band, and they've just released a brand new single called Mountain Rosalie, and they have already won a whole bunch of awards in the bluegrass field, and just some fantastic things going on, and it's a pleasure to have Kody Norris on the show tonight. Kody, how are you?
Scott, I'm wonderful. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, fantastic. Great to have you on the show. Thank you.
It's so good to be here. So good to be here. Been looking forward to this.
Oh, me too. Well, you got a brand new song that's just been released, and it's called Mountain Rosalie. Tell me a little bit about that song.
That's an old traditional country song, bluegrass song, whatever you like to call it, that I don't really feel like ever kind of got a fair shake. Best we can tell, it's been maybe recorded only about 3 times in about the last 80 years or something like that, and even those recordings were kind of a B-side thing, and just one that we were able to revamp and kind of put the Kody Norris show hot rod approach to it, I guess you would say, and bring that one up to speed, put our own spin on it, and it's a very jolly type of melody, and about all the girlfriends in life maybe that this particular guy who's doing the singing might have had, but there's only one for him, and that's Mountain Rosalie.
Well, it definitely hits true for even today. You know, it's kind of one of those songs that's got a timeless subject to it, you know?
For sure, and that was something that really just spoke volumes to us about it, and we had, a few times through the years we've performed that live at different places, and you'll always have people making comments about it, and there's a line in there that's used 2 times in the chorus, hillbilly baby, and people they'll want to hear the song about the hillbilly baby. So anyway, we'll see what happens.
Well, that's great. We're definitely going to play that for our listeners tonight. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, you've been nominated and won some awards from the bluegrass industry as well, and so has your wife, who is also in the band with you, right?
For sure, and we're just so humbled to have received that. When I won Entertainer of the Year here for 2022 at the Society for the Preservation of Bluegrass Music Awards in Nashville back in February or late January, I can't tell you that feeling. Just the most humbling experience ever. And of course, Mary Rachel won their Fiddle Performer of the Year this year, so we're so excited for her. And she does such a wonderful job and contributes such a large part to our show.
Oh, that's fantastic, and I think that's really great that you guys share the music together as well.
Oh, it's the most wonderful thing ever. She and I are together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and so many people throughout the world ask us, how do y'all do that? But we're both so driven and so busy, and we have one common goal, and that's to take the Kody Norris show as far as we can possibly go with it and take our music to the masses, and we both have so much love for that and a true love for entertaining people.
Well, it definitely shows in listening to your music, that's for sure. And folks, I want to mention you can go to KodyNorrisShow.com. It's their official website. We will put that information on our Facebook page for My Kind of Country as well. Kody, give me a little bit of your background. How did you get into the wonderful world of bluegrass music?
I actually started playing music at the ripe old age of 9 years old with a little gospel group in my town and that attended my church. And prior to that, my dad would often take me to music festivals. My dad was a huge music fan. Nobody in my family plays any music, but my dad was a big music fan, and he always had mixtapes that he was making from everybody from Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs to John Fogerty to Bill Monroe to John Prine. He listened to everything, and I'm so happy about that because I was exposed to such a broad array of music. And then, when I was about early teens, I kind of got bit by the bluegrass bug and enjoyed the festivals. I loved the music festival scene, and kind of got into it, played with some regional acts and regional talent, so to speak. And then when I was about 17, I had the opportunity to work some dates with Dr. Ralph Stanley and the Clinch Mountain Boys. That was a really big time in my life. And once that little stint was over, I kind of made up my mind if I was ever going to start into music, then would be the time to get to take it and attempt to do something with it. So 14 years later, here we are.
Wow, that's fantastic. So what did you do besides bluegrass music? What was your day job, I guess I'm asking?
Well, in all reality, from the time I was about 20 years old, thankfully I've not had to work at anything else, whether it be studio work or sideman in other band, whatever I had to do. Everything's always been centered around the music. I've always had, a few other little kind of sideline hobbies. Mary Rachel and I, we enjoy buying property, flipping houses, things along those lines. And a lot of people also don't know, I'm an auctioneer. I went to auction school a few years ago, and believe it or not, I am also a newly elected county commissioner in my town in Johnson County, Tennessee. Mary Rachel and I have some Airbnb property, and she also has a newly built campground. We've got all kinds of things going on.
Man, I guess so.
We stay busy. We stay busy.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, tell me about some of the other folks that are playing in the band with you.
For sure, Josiah Tyree is a banjo player in the band, and he's been in the group for about 5.5 years now. And Charlie Lohman is our bass player. Charlie's from Chicago and does a good job with the group and sings the third part, plays the bass. And for the first time in my band, everybody in the band is a multi-instrumentalist and plays numerous instruments, and so that really helps to add a whole lot to our show. And it also, it really comes out in the studio a lot of times. You never know what you can get by just switching up who's singing what part and maybe who's playing what instrument. There's some magic to be created there.
And I know you had an album called All Suited Up that was number 7 on the Billboard charts. That's fantastic.
That really impressed us and made us feel so good that our music had reached that level. And I think it's a milestone for any artist, to when something's debuted, for it to do well and to be in the top 10 on Billboard. That was really something for us, and we really celebrated that.
You bet. Now, do you also write your own material?
I write a good bit of it, probably about 80% of the material we perform, and the other stuff that I do will be no different kind of than Mountain Rosalie, kind of some very, very, what I feel like are well-crafted obscurities that might have got overlooked along the way, and we revamp them to the point that they feel like they've been a Kody Norris show tune all along.
That's great. You mentioned Dr. Ralph Stanley earlier. Who are some of your other big influences in bluegrass or other types of music for that matter?
Well, my music's been influenced by so many people across a broad spectrum, and typically, because we have a banjo in the band, a lot of people they'll brand us right off the bat as a bluegrass band. But our show brings so much more to the table. I feel like, and I'm not a fan of genre restriction. I think if something's good, it ought to be good. And but in regard to my influences, they're from such a broad spectrum of places. On more of the bluegrass side of things, naturally, the Stanley Brothers, Bill Monroe, Jimmy Martin, heavily influenced there. Doc Watson, of course, I grew up just a few miles from where Doc Watson lived, so he was always you see him in the grocery store, he and his wife. And ironically, her name was Rosalie. That was a quick thought. Yeah, so that's a neat little tidbit. But anyway, another major influence of mine was B.B. King. Not necessarily musically, but I saw a B.B. King show live, and just his attention to detail as far as the entertaining side of things, the dress code of his group, everything was just top shelf all the way across the board.
Yeah.
And that had some major impact on my career. As far as the liveliness of a stage performance, also I'm a big Jerry Lee Lewis fan. So there, a whole lot of people.
Well, those are good ones. I got to see B.B. King many years ago. I used to live in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I saw him at a place called Beef and Boards, and I know exactly what you're saying. He was just amazing. He had every single person in that audience focused right on him 100% of the time, and his band was just out of this world. It was a fantastic show.
And the thing that amazed me with that, and I'm sure you could, even at that time, a lot of those guys had been with him since he started, and they stayed with him till the day he passed. I just thought that was remarkable. I don't know if anybody had that kind of longevity out of their band.
Yeah, that definitely says a lot about the artist. You know, they definitely treat their musicians right.
For sure, for sure.
Well, I know that you guys have done a lot of touring. You've toured in 48 states and Canada and Mexico. And what is coming up for you this fall and getting out there and touring?
We've got we're currently out touring right now. Last week we were in Washington State, and this past weekend we were in Wisconsin. We got dates in Kentucky. You know, just all over the country. We're doing all kinds of traveling everywhere from festivals to, you know, for performing arts centers to just all over the country.
That's fantastic. KodyNorrisShow.com is the website, folks, and you can catch up with everything that they've got going on. If you get a chance to go and see them, please do that. And Kody, you mentioned earlier we were talking about Mountain Rosalie, your new single, and you had mentioned that had been just recorded a handful of times over the years. Who are some of the artists that recorded it, and how did that song really come to your attention as something you wanted to record?
I heard the song for the first time. Jim and Jesse recorded that song. Ralph Stanley recorded it, and the Ralph Stanley version is on Rebel Records, which is the same label that we're on. And you know, naturally, it being something from their catalog, they were all about it being re-recorded. But actually, my first recollection of that song in a little local band that I played in when I was a kid. One of the guys in the band, he always sang that song, and it was kind of new and fresh to everybody. They weren't really familiar with it, and when, you know, like I say, a few times along the way, we put it into our stage show, and it's been so well received, and so we're certainly excited to see what that song will do on radio.
Well, that's fabulous. Well, we're going to play that for our listeners right now, and folks, let us know what you think of it. We'd love to hear from you. And Kody, I wish you the very best, you and your awesome band, and keep me posted on what's happening with you. When you get new music out there, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to get it on the air for you.
Thank you so much. Now, again, I can't thank you enough for having us on your show, and let's do this again sometime.
I would love to. You bet. We'll stay in touch, and I want to thank Scott Sexton at 2911 Media, one of my good friends, and we work with them a lot, and you are in good hands with being promoted by such a fantastic company, that's for sure.
They are all wonderful people. We love working with those folks.
All right, folks, here is Kody Norris, Mountain Rosalie, as we continue with My Kind of Country. Kody, thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Take care.
I met the gal called Jolie Blunt, and I know her sister too. I met Ann from Old Cheyenne and an old Sioux City Sioux. There's Sweet Marie from Tennessee and Louisiana Lou. Well, I know them all from A to Z, and I met Miss Molly too. Mountain sweetheart, Mountain Rosalie, hillbilly baby, waiting there for me. Cheeks are red as roses and her lips are meant for me. Hillbilly baby, my Mountain Rosalie. Texas red in Texas, they say she's out of sight. Pistol packing mama full of dynamite. Sadie from Missouri, just fine as she can be, but none can satisfy me like my Mountain Rosalie. Mountain sweetheart, Mountain Rosalie, hillbilly baby, waiting there for me. Cheeks are red as roses and her lips are meant for me. Hillbilly baby, my Mountain Rosalie. But of all the pretty girls I've met, there's just one girl for me. She lives way back in the hills, my Mountain Rosalie. Her hair is dark and curly and her eyes are big and blue. She's raised on corn and taters and she loves her Mountain Dew.